Hi everyone, Stone Crypto here, bringing back to you some more rock-solid cryptocurrency tutorial content. Today's topic, I'll be discussing what exactly is cryptocurrency mining and the different types. I'll start off with a brief background of mining to establish a good foundation, and then I'll go into high-level detail on the different types of mining, such as GPU, ASIC, pool, and cloud. So a large part of the crypto world has its foundation built around what we call crypto mining. The act of mining is structured around the mining processes of precious metals such as gold and silver. What gives gold and silver value outside of the shininess and glitter is the fact that it's scarce and difficult to extract. In order to extract large amounts of gold and silver, it requires a large amount of capital investment into equipment, tools, and labor. The investment in these materials generally grow larger and become more time-intensive as the amounts of undiscovered gold and silver decrease and are more difficult to find. That is the concept that crypto mining is based on, which is called proof of work. For coins like Bitcoin and Litecoin that are built around the proof of work model, you have to mine the coins. They're not free and created out of thin air like the dollar, pounds, or Japanese yen. Just in case you're still under the assumption that our US dollars, pounds, euros, and yen are backed by gold and silver, they're not. Nixon took the entire world off the gold standard back in the 70s, and since then we've dramatically increased our global debt and global supply of our native currencies. It's probably why you've noticed that your money is slowly buying you less and less things. A single word to summarize this would be inflation. So if you previously thought that these coins were just magically created out of thin air by someone or something, that isn't exactly how it works. Mining takes time, the equipment like computer processors and graphics cards costs money, and then you have to power the computer for the entire time it's mining, so there's electricity costs as well. In the infancy of Bitcoin and crypto, mining was very profitable and easy. The amount of people mining was limited, so the probability of finding Bitcoin while mining was high. Well, it's been 8 years since the inception of Bitcoin, and 16 million of the total supply of 21 million have already been found. It's roughly 75% of all the Bitcoins that can ever be found that are already in people's wallets. Mining for Bitcoin is no longer as lucrative. The capital costs have increased significantly, and time spent to find Bitcoins have greatly increased significantly as well. So the mining rigs, outside of being energy intensive, are also very loud and produce a lot of heat. This results in many mining companies building their operations in countries that subsidize energy costs, have large unoccupied land where sound won't be a hindrance to the local populace, and are also in a colder climate to help dissipate the heat. And that's just the money aspect of crypto mining. Because the blockchain is a decentralized and distributed ledger, basically a public spreadsheet of all the Bitcoin transactions from the very first coin to the most recently mined Bitcoins, every single miner is also a tool that maintains the authenticity of that global ledger. So your miner, my miner, and any other miner out there verifies these transactions and helps with securing the Bitcoin network. If someone tried to fake a Bitcoin transaction, let's say they happen to get 51%, or no, they would have to get 51% of the miners in the world to accept and legitimize their fake transaction, and that's what we would call an attack on the network. If the government wanted to bring down the network, they would need to shut down all the miners in the world, because as long as one miner is up and running, the network would still be alive. It wouldn't be very fast or secure, but it would still be up and running. GPU mining is basically mining with your graphics card. GPU actually stands for a graphics processing unit, And GPU miners are the most universal type miners out there, as they aren't specialized to mine any specific currency. And oftentimes many GPU miners will mine various altcoins that might be more profitable than mining Bitcoin. And because the profitability level of your miner or your rig is dependent on the quality of your GPU, this has recently driven up the cost of these GPUs and graphics cards. The cost for a decent graphics card can range anywhere from $400 to a couple thousand. And it may sound difficult and complex to build your miner at first, but it's actually not as difficult as it sounds. For a bare bones miner, you'll need a cheap motherboard, CPU, RAM, SSD, power supply, Windows, as well as the monitor, keyboard, mouse, and internet connection. The main component, the GPU, is the only pricey item you really need. If you want to add more mining power to your miner, you don't need to buy all those things all over again, such as your CPU, RAM, SSD. All you need to do is just get another GPU and you can plug it into the motherboard, as the motherboard can house multiple GPU units. And you can see in the top right hand corner over here, the motherboard is on the bottom level, and then you have your 5 GPUs. And this is a custom case that's built. If you don't want to build a custom case, you're going to have to find a way to kind of lay your GPUs somewhere where they won't fall down, the fans have to be running. So now that you have a basic understanding of a GPU miner and the components, you'll probably want to know how much ROI you'll get if you invest in building your miner. So it will cost you roughly about $1,000 to build a 1 GPU miner, and from there on you can add an additional $400+ if you want to add additional GPUs. The ROI will really depend on how many GPUs that you actually have running and which particular client software you're using. I use NiceHash, which is a one-click mining software where I literally click start and then I walk away. NiceHash provides about 15 to 20 different mining algorithms for my GPU to toggle through, and it will automatically switch to the most profitable altcoin algorithms to mine any given second. So it allows me to sell my mining power to them, and they use their altcoin mining software while taking away a small fee from the profit I produce. It also automatically converts and sends me the crypto I mined to my wallet, so I don't ever have to do anything. It will convert all the altcoins automatically into Bitcoin, and it's very easy to use in a well-known mining software company. The only issue I would like to address about NiceHash is they were recently hacked for millions of dollars worth of Bitcoin. They've been a reputable company for over 3 years, providing a great service before that happened. The hack happened last month, December 2017. They ended up shutting down for a few weeks to patch up all the holes, and recently have come back online. So although hacks are always a bit scary, they happen to almost every industry within the crypto space, not just the mining community. So you do want to make sure you do your own due diligence. ASIC mining is another very popular type of mining that I'm sure many of you have heard of. ASIC stands for Application Specific Integrated Circuit, which is the hardware technology behind ASIC miners. ASIC miners are designed specifically to mine only a single type of cryptocurrency. This increases the miner's efficiency and allows you to mine more crypto at a cheaper cost. Bitmain, the main ASIC miner production company that makes ASIC miners, makes them for Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Dash. Prices can range from $1,500 to close to $3,000 for a pre-built miner and a power supply unit. They're a bit pricier than normal GPU miners or other miners out there, but they are more cost efficient. There's also some political controversy around Bitmain, which is the main and pretty much only producer of these ASIC miners in the world. As Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is built on the concept of decentralization, or removing power from centralized sources such as governments and large conglomerates, it kind of causes it's an area of concern that Bitmain has so much mining power and has cornered the market with these ASIC miners. Their mining rigs are the most efficient on the market, which makes it difficult for other competitors to even compete on price or quality. The ASIC mining hardware was patented in the United States in 2013 by an individual named Timo Hanke. However, in China, it was patented by Bitmain in 2015. And because the majority of the world's mining production or mining hardware is produced in China, and Bitmain already has the patent on ASIC mining in China, they're pretty much the only ones that are allowed to produce these ASIC mining machines. Bitmain is also making a killing off these miners, so they obviously want this to continue for as long as possible. And the other end of the spectrum, you have these developers that are working on improving Bitcoin's speed, transactions, anonymity, and they've been pushing for this code upgrade called SegWit. SegWit will increase the block size and also lower transaction costs on the Bitcoin network, which will help with the slow transaction times that is causing this network congestion. SegWit, however, negates the ASIC miner hardware advantage, which would pretty much level the playing field against Bitmain and killing their cash cow. Bitmain also happens to run one of the largest Bitcoin mining pools in the world, called Antpool, and the majority of the Chinese miners participate in Antpool. There's also speculation that Jihan Wu, the CEO of Bitmain, who's also good friends with Roger Ver, who is one of the leaders of the Bitcoin Cash movement, there's rumors that they came together and purposely forked off Bitcoin Cash to use the same hashing algorithm as the original Bitcoin. This basically allows the Bitcoin miners to switch over to mining Bitcoin Cash with just a click of a button. And as Bitmain runs Antpool, they can direct all their Antpool participants just to flip-flop from BTC to BCH, or BCH back to BTC as often as they want. And the drama from this end is that a large percentage of the world's Bitcoin miners are in China, and Antpool controls many of these Chinese miners. So if Bitmain is telling Antpool to flip-flop from BTC to BCH, you can instantly have 20 to 30% of the Bitcoin miners just going offline or just moving over to the Bitcoin Cash. And that would instantly increase transaction fees and slow down the network. It's one of the main reasons why there's a lot of disdain for people like Roger Ver and Jihan Wu over this last year. Next, we have pool mining. Pool mining is the act of lending your mining power to a larger group while also being able to proportionally share in the rewards based off of the mining power and time you have contributed. Pool mining makes mining larger and older blockchains like Bitcoin a little bit more profitable, as it's almost impossible or extremely difficult for Bitcoins to be mined from a single miner or a small group of miners. Slush Pool was the first to invent pool mining. Antpool is also another well-known Bitcoin pool run by Bitmain, which we just spoke about. And just like NiceHash, pool mining is fairly easy to use. You can have one-click miners as well. Lastly, we have cloud mining. This will be the last type of mining that I'll be talking about in this episode. And it's a type of mining that allows you to receive cryptocurrency mining profits without actually owning any miners. You're basically renting hash power or mining power from another company such as Genesis Mining and Hashing24, or you can rent hash power from a service like NiceHash and MinerGate. Genesis Mining and Hashing24 own miners that they allow you to rent from them. Genesis Mining does 2-year mining or hash power contracts that you can buy. You'll enter in your crypto wallet address and they provide you with daily mining payouts based off of your hash power. Really, really user friendly, and it's it's an easier barrier to entry if you're trying to get into the mining space. NiceHash is a service that connects sellers that want to sell their hash power to individuals that want to buy that hash power. They both sell hashing power, but in different ways. Through cloud mining, you get the benefit of not having to deal with the heat, sound, space, electricity cost of hosting your own miner. But the trade-off is you will be getting a little bit less profit. You also don't have to learn how to build and manage your own miner either, if you're a cloud miner. So when I first started in crypto, I invested in things like Genesis mining, but I quickly learned that the fees you pay aren't worth it in the long run. Companies like Genesis or NiceHash will charge you for management cost, heat, electricity, cooling, housing, and a lot of those costs will outweigh the normal cost that you would assume if you were to build your own miner and run it yourself. And since they are running these miners on a massive scale in warehouses like in Iceland, it's also cheaper for them to maintain and manage these miners when done in large quantities. So in a nutshell, cloud mining is a service for, I would consider, the noobs, some people that are lazy, and people who just don't want to deal with all the cons of physically housing a miner, cooling them. Maybe in the winter it's not so bad, but if you live in a hot area, it might be a major pain to figure out how to dissipate all the heat that is emitting from your miners. When cloud mining first began, there were also a lot of scam sites that would just pop up, collect hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars from customers, buying these supposedly mining contracts. Then a month or two later, they would just disappear, shut down, stealing everyone's funds. So you want to make sure that you're doing your research. You know what are some of the more reputable cloud mining companies out there, such as Genesis Mining, Hashing24, and NiceHash. But you do need to make sure that you are putting the control of these miners in a third party, and that kind of defeats the whole purpose of the whole cryptocurrency space, taking power away from centralized entities and putting it back into your hand. So I would recommend building your own miners, but if that's not feasible, you can look into some of these cloud mining options. So that's it for today's episode on Stone Crypto. If you like this episode, please feel free to like, subscribe, and follow us for updates, and we'll catch you guys on the next episode.